Back at Flashpoint 2, our second best of 3, our second match of the day will be between our partner team c0ntact and our invited team Fnatic. One of the teams that we think has a strong chance of winning the whole thing, but has hit a few stumbling blocks recently. Joining me are Alan and Maui. Hello, welcome to the desk.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. To be honest, after yesterday's game, I'm just hoping that even if it's a blowout, I want to see at least one team putting up a really great performance. And certainly coming into this game, I really want to see Fnatic in form, because over the recent few events, it's always felt like they're so close to being so good. They just need to bring a bit more, some more set play, some more innovation. They're so good at playing the defaults. And really, I hope in this game, in this series, and the tournament even, that they can show us some more of what kind of Fnatic's really capable of.
Really? I'm looking forward to c0ntact hopefully coming out with this new roster and putting up a challenge to Fnatic. It seems like Fnatic is not in their most dominant form right now. We don't know a lot about what to expect from c0ntact. Give me some c0ntact hype, Maui.
c0ntact hype. Well, if you like FPL players, I know the place for you. It is on
the
c0ntact
FPL players. You love FPL players.
I love the raw talent. I love how they can be molded. I love what Snappy's going to be trying to do with this. It is a stretch, though, to believe that they can come out swinging and hit a home run against Fnatic. It's such a tough
mixing
and tall
your
order.
sports metaphors. Nice. That's why I come out swing. Well, I suppose it does fit with baseball a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Snappy's probably playing a
Let's try that one more time. We were just getting into our thoughts here on these two teams. Let's take a look at the rosters of these teams to kick things off. Fnatic's, obviously, everybody should know fairly well at this stage, but there are some up-and-coming players that c0ntact has picked up. They have gone through some roster movements in the last couple of months, and as you can see, Rigon is joining this roster right now. They were trialing with Smooya for a little bit of time there. Esperanto and Udoh return from Flashpoint 1. Snappy, Rigon, and Spinks are the three that have been added in between our two events. So you got anything, Alan? I know Maui wasn't very good at hyping up c0ntact, but tell me about Rigon and Spinks and why I should be excited.
So Rigon and Spinks are both players that they are phenomenally and individually talented. They're very mechanical players. They've both been lifted for the most part out of FPL, and from watching them so far in games, to be honest, I think that transition from pugging to a very team-based environment has been difficult for them. And the way they're talking about adding these players, the way we've seen them discussing these players in interviews, it really does feel like this is a long-term commitment for these two players. They even said, we're really looking to kind of develop them over 6 to 12 months. So for the moment, I'm not expecting to see them being the highest fraggers on the team or making incredible individual decisions, but hopefully throughout the tournament and moving forwards, we can really see them develop into solid players for this team.
Yeah, I think what we're looking for from players like Spinks and Rigon here is just kind of individual moments of brilliance. We're hoping that if they find themselves in the right situation, which they have comfort in, that they can pop off in ways that will surprise us and Fnatic in a way that should possibly come about? Because Snappy, he's been putting in some work with this team. At this point, they've laid out a few of the maps that they like to play. There is some structure behind them right now. So hopefully he can actually enable these players to show their full potential.
Yeah, Snappy as the older player, as the experienced IGL, what are some of Snappy's strengths in that position that you feel he lends to this c0ntact roster?
So for me, the main thing that he lends to this roster is just flat-out experience. He's played for so many Danish teams, even had a brief stint in Optic as well. And for these players, they really need a level-headed, experienced person in there. Even just in kind of a communication sense, the other players on this team, they won't know exactly what to communicate. They really won't know what to be saying in late round scenarios. So for Snappy, he really needs to be an integral part of this team. And something I've noticed so far with Snappy is that his CT positions, he's not always playing the cooling spots. And for people that don't know, when I say cooling spots, these are the spots on the CT side that determine when you make the call going into the round, this is the player that moves about. So the best examples are B Rotator on Inferno, because he'll call all of banana control. On CT Nuke, the outer rifler, do you want to run a double rifle ramp setup? He can go ramp. Do you want to play towards outer? He can go towards outer. So for this team, I haven't so far seen Snappy in all the calling positions, but given that some of these players are very inexperienced at this sort of level, I'd actually like to see Snappy moving into all of the calling positions so that he can call around himself and use his experience to aid the other players on the team.
Well, c0ntact, you know, we saw A-Core at the end of that last match in the interview with Freya giving a sly little smirk there about Mad Lion's chances against c0ntact. Very confident that they were going to be able to take that team out if they were to hit them in the future. Now, also, as we look forward here, even some other players on teams not in this group are kind of piling on c0ntact right now, including Alex from Cloud9. May never have to play c0ntact in this tournament. But him saying, when I hear Neil, their coach, Neil M, say he wants to shut Henry go CSGO up, get more than 10 rounds over a best of 3, and I'll start to believe your team's not playing CS with the steering wheel. You donkey.
Oh
I like the you donkey at the end, like as if the steering wheel insult wasn't enough. Also calling him a donkey at the end.
I have to say, I absolutely love this tweet. And before I say this, I do understand that Neil is Irish, but he has played entirely in the UK scene before going out to these international lineups. And with Alex, even though he's British, he's always played in France. But this tweet for me is like the most UK CS tweet I've ever seen in my life. Everything about it, the whole way it's phrased. And for people that just see the UK CS memes and don't really know what it's like inside the community, every player thinks this sort of way of every other player. And the most ridiculous part is they all think like this of their teammates. So they'll be messaging each other on Steam saying this player's rubbish, what's he doing? He's a donkey, why are we letting him call for us? And all of these sort of things. So for me, this is one of the best tweets I've ever seen, to be honest. It's absolutely brilliant. And, you know, it just brings so much hype to the game.
Yeah, I love it. I love the banter too. Like Neil M obviously going out there being very confident. You saw the interview that Freya did before. And if you didn't, go check it out on the Flashpoint YouTube. Let's move over to Fnatic right now and talk about this team. Very established, very prestigious organization with a well-known group of players. We have seen some jokes about Broline getting nerfed as a result of the Krieg nerf. We have seen them not perform up to maybe their lofty expectations in the online era that we have in 2020. But realistically, this is still a team with every chance to win Flashpoint 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Fnatic are a team that it always feels like when they're going into a tournament, they'll sometimes have a hot start or a nice little streak in the middle of it, but it's tough for them on this online era to put all the pieces together in order to have a very complete tournament run. And so they're absolutely going to be hoping to do that here at Flashpoint 2 to try to find that semblance of consistency. And I actually really like the approach that they've taken coming into this tournament, where they're starting by playing all at home, but as the playoffs commence, they will be actually moving into a boot camp.
Correct.
And that should actually really
if they make it.
If they make it. That's
which
true.
They probably will.
Now, spoiler, they might. There's a good chance they probably will, but honestly, I think that's the way to go, because what we saw recently from them at DreamHack Open Fall is that they started that tournament super hot. They were in a boot camp. It looked like they were firing on all cylinders. Flusha was having some of the best individual performances I've seen from him all year. But then as the tournament progressed, it seemed like some of the steam was just lost. I don't know what was fueling the flames, but all of that just, it's gone now. And hopefully they found some kind of avenue for success moving into this one. That whole staging of when to integrate the bootcamp into their play should give them a little boost over the edge for me.
I think with Fnatic, with some of these players, they've played for so long, serial major winners, you do have to kind of question the motivation coming into this post-pandemic era. But what I really hope for this tournament is with the big prize pool, with all the hype coming in, with potentially us in the studio adding more to the tournament, I really hope they come into this one and they're really going for it, because it's just felt to me like throughout the previous few tournaments, that Fnatic, they've just been playing too standard. And with Fnatic, they're incredibly good at ADC CS.
Well, wasn't it JW tweeting right before the start saying that they had saved all of their strats for this tournament? Obviously, you know, trolling to a certain degree. But to be fair, you know, if you're playing in a couple of events at the same time like they are right now, you may want to, you know, save some of those strats for the one you're likely to win and also has a giant prize pool associated with it.
I'll say this about Fnatic and the fact that he says that. It seems like he's joking, but honestly, when you really watch these Fnatic games, they run probably one set play every match for the last few months per T side. And they have a book of strats that they know actually could work in any kind of context right now. And they really haven't been showing their hand completely. They are showing us glimpses, but we haven't really seen the whole fist inside the Fnatic glove just yet.
I didn't know where you're going with that fist reference at first, but the glove, nice one. Okay. You can say the other one too, it's Flashpoint, but that's fine. We're going to go into our veto and pick right now for our maps so that we can actually have some more substantive analysis based around the map selection, gentlemen. So why don't you lead us through here as we see which of these bans are going to come in first?
So with both of these teams, I think the bans are really, really set coming into this one. I'm totally certain that Fnatic will ban Nuke coming into this one. And c0ntact, throughout their previous series, have pretty much always been banning Vertigo. But one of the questions for me is coming into this one, Fnatic, they're not an established Vertigo team. So I would definitely actually come into this one with the underdog mindset. I would float Vertigo, ban Inferno, because to be honest, I don't think c0ntact stand a chance on that map, and put Fnatic onto more uncomfortable maps, because if you let them have the maps they're comfortable on, you know, this series could be over pretty quickly.
Oh, they go with that angle. I like that. Okay, so it shows that they've actually brought a game plan to this matchup that could work out for them. I'm now really curious about what Fnatic's first pick is going to be, because, like you said, Inferno was absolutely their best shot. So let's just see how this one develops.
So for their pick, I think the ultimate BM pick coming into this one would be Dust 2. It's not a map that Fnatic particularly plays that much, but from watching c0ntact play the map, they're really bad at it, to be honest. And I'd really love to just see Fnatic pick into it full confidence and take it to c0ntact on Dust 2. But let's see what they go for on this one.
Okay, c0ntact has been picking Mirage quite a bit in their recent series, and it has actually worked out for them rather well. Fnatic, they've been kind of struggling with the map, so that's a really nice pick for c0ntact there. But we'll see if
not to mention the Mad Lions game last night.
Yeah, that didn't look too good for them. Okay, so Fnatic are going for Train, and I thought that had a potential to be a decider in this matchup. It's a map that Fnatic has actually been playing rather well on, and c0ntact, they've actually won a couple of Train matches their own. This is actually a pretty good veto for c0ntact to start.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised with the Train pick. To be honest, that indicates to me that they might have even been practicing Train for potentially the last week or so, thinking that coming into Flashpoint they're going to bring it out as maybe a third, fourth best map that people aren't expecting. So certainly coming into that one, I'm not really sure what to expect from Fnatic, and I honestly supremely doubt that c0ntact thought Train was going to be picked there.
I mean, this is also the first time we've seen Train at Flashpoint 2 so far. It's been banned in every single other matchup that we've had.
Yeah, it's a map that for rosters that are coming into this tournament, they haven't really prepped perhaps as much because there's a lot of new faces showing up here. And so it's usually a map you develop into your pool just a little bit later, unless you have a really solid IGL for that map in particular. And I don't think there's been one just yet.
So now coming down to Dust 2 and Overpass, I don't think it matters too much which way Fnatic push this. I prefer them to take it to Overpass, because with this lineup and previous lineups, they've just been so strong on Overpass, and it really suits the way they like to play T-side. They go default heavy, they're so good at the mid-rounding, and indeed, they bring out Overpass. And this is definitely an interesting veto. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Maui, but I think if c0ntact could win this, it'd be a huge upset, but I think they'd actually have to 2-0 this one.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. Fnatic has just looked especially clutch on Overpass. Feels like every time that's the decider lately, they're just hitting another level. Flusha in particular has been absolutely just raging in the clutch there. There's been so many highlights from him lately on Overpass that I feel like that, to him, might be one of his favorite maps recently.
I certainly think it's actually a map that Golden really enjoys calling on T-side, because as I say, it's a map where So on a map like Inferno, all the defaults tend to be the same, but on Overpass, you've got a bit more play. You can default towards B, you can default towards A, go long towards mid, and also there's so much mid-rounding, finding out where the AWPs are, you're going to contact into here. So it's a lot of fun, that map. I really do enjoy seeing Fnatic on Overpass. I don't think it's going to make it to Overpass, to be honest, but if it did, I think it would be a good game.
All right, fair enough. Let's take a look at two of our players in a head-to-head here. Get a little bit of discussion on these two. Brolin from Fnatic, Esperanto, the man who Potter and Thorin were definitely talking about a lot coming into today in their analysis of this match just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, these are both the pretty young talents for these teams. Brolin has solidified himself at this point with the Fnatic roster. He's not as much of a new face, but he was very much so propped at the beginning as being this player with a ton of potential. He has reached that potential, whereas Esperanto, he's a player that's still coming up right now. We've seen glimpses of greatness from him with his aim. He looks like a human aimbot at times. His first bullet accuracy is so ridiculous. He's one of the few players in the professional scene that uses the M4A1S because he just wants to hit the accurate shot first off.
So with Esperanto, I think we have something called the Esperanto confirmation bias conundrum. And the problem with
I like where this is going.
It's perfect. So the problem with Esperanto is that this team in the lower tier tournaments, they play so many, 50 to 60, top 50 to top 60 sort of teams. And in these games, Esperanto, he's so much more individually skilled than the other teams. He swings out, he plays wide, he gets so many frags, 2Ks, 3Ks. And in all of these games, he's just building up the confirmation bias again and again and again. And it's just hurting his team plays. When he comes to play these top teams, I've seen it happen so many times with Esperanto, he can't reel it in enough. And although we might be tempting to kind of blame him for that problem, I think you actually have to really look at the coaching and maybe Snappy as well for this, because it's their job to explain to him that even though this works, this isn't how we play Team Counter-Strike. We play together. We, play the trades, all of these sort of things. You can't
always be the hero, right? Sometimes you have to rein it in just a little bit, play a little bit more calculated. I get you. All right, let's take a look at our Pinnacle odds for this match as we are about to get underway. And we're going to do the updated leaderboard first after our first match of the day. So we'll check in on how you guys are doing. Maui with the golden halo. You look like a Saints there with your Pinnacle point leader prediction right now.
Yeah, I gotta gloat a little bit. I mean, I've just picked the favorites every single time, so really solid betting advice here from me. That's about it. Just pick the favorites.
No balls over here.
You see,
it's not no balls. It's actually when you do bet on real sports, you need to learn this. That you need to know how to allocate your units, and you need to know how to read the plus minuses.
Bardolph was with you on the picking the favorites up until this last one when he went on Dignitas, man.
I'll say this:
hurts.
Day 1, Bardolph, we were in the gym together when we made our picks. Day 2, he wasn't there. And he slipped. He slipped up. If you need my advice, James, I'm right here, man. Got my WhatsApp.
So for me, I'm still, completely tilted about that Envy pick, to be honest, because actually with those odds, I actually don't think you could actually make a reasonable case that you should have gone with fours in that one. Because 3-1, it was way closer than that. And as we saw in the game, those second and third maps, they went pretty much to the wire. So even though I'm not so far up the leaderboard, I do feel like I've made the logical choices so far.
That's true.
In the picks.
Well, you know what? Hopefully those logical choices on a long enough timeline will end up doing well for you, Alan.
Or it will end badly, yes. Thank you, Monty.
Maybe we'll punish you. I don't know. It's all part of the fun, though. All right, let's take a look at our updated odds here for Pinnacle. Head on over to pinnacle.com/flashpoint. These are the odds that you guys are playing right now that I believe were there last night. They will have updated odds on the site. So c0ntact 3.88 to 1. It's tempting. It's tempting. I don't think I found Envy much more tempting because of Forza's recent form and the unknowns of the Envy roster. I feel like, I wouldn't take this one on c0ntact, even though it does look tasty.
Yeah, if this were maybe 1-5, you could have a case for c0ntact, but I don't think the money is juicy enough just yet. I need some better odds if I were to swing to the c0ntact side of things.
All right, well, let's take a look at everyone's predictions before we get into the match. And did anyone take that with c0ntact? I know Bardolph and Haka. By the way, have you guys decided that your duo name is Baraka, like the Mortal Kombat character? Because that's what I would have decided.
Okay. I thought that was going somewhere else with the Baraka.
know where you're going, where your head is, but I thought that was pretty cool. You know, I initially this morning I went with both the underdogs because I thought the odds were so close on the favourites that might as well take a gamble because I have to use the points right. But then I was like, I don't know. So I kind of took a conservative option with Dignitas and then kind of put 600 on Fnatic as like a safety to keep up with the plebs, you know. So that's how I approach it.
I think you're pretty safe there, James. So you know, the goal is just not to be in last place.
Yeah, doing it right
you're reverse motivated. I also did 500 on Fnatic here, but I'm not up there. I split 500 on the two favorites today, not thinking that we were going to have maybe one of those upsets.
Yeah, I think actually without the Madline result last night, I would have gone much heavier on Fnatic. I would probably just gone 750 on Fnatic and 250 on Madlines because I do think they're a really heavy favourite in this match, and I think the matchup is really actually quite bad for c0ntact because Fnatic, even though we've kind of been joking around that they do play a bit too standard, maybe you do want to go into this game and just play total ABC CS, have great comms, have great mid-rounding, and against a team like c0ntact that doesn't have these sort of things, they make individual errors, potentially the calling isn't really up to speed yet with this new lineup. I think Fnatic, they were a really good matchup actually for c0ntact here.
We do have an imposter among us, by the way. Yuumi is there, and just like c0ntact, they're going to get thrown out of the airlock in this one. That's not going to go well for him.
Yeah, although Yuumi does, I think he's in third place right now.
I think he's second.
Or he's in second place.
Yeah, so he can overtake me.
He only put 250, which is the minimum. So Thorin should actually say 750 right there. He cheated. He cheated. He has to have at least 250 on the other game. But Yuumi put 250, so he did go for the minimum. But he's going for the home run. He's going for the one punch knockout.
I think he might have a chance, you know, because c0ntact is starting CT side on Train. And I don't know how much we've spoken about Udoh yet, but there's a world where he just deletes them on CT side. They don't have too much to clean up on T side should they win Mirage. So I feel like the way the veto's gone on the order of the maps, they could do something because Udoh's quite dangerous on Mirage as well. So I feel like there's definitely a chance that Yuumi gets paid on those little chips he put down.
All right, well, let's get right into the match. Fnatic versus c0ntact. Take it away, gents.
Thank you very much. What do you think about what I just said?
I honestly, I agree with you. I think Udoh, especially as an AWPer, he's the kind of guy that can actually just win you a map.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him do it before. He has games where he just seems to go 30 for 10 or something ridiculous. And those are two maps where that can absolutely happen. So
yeah.
I think you're right. And also, Fnatic haven't been great on Mirage recently, honestly.
No, they haven't. And I am like a super fan of Udoh. I've seen a lot of matches he's played on Mirage and such, and I know what he's capable of. So I feel like purely... I think they're more than a puncher's chance based on the order of the maps and that they will start CT side on Train. But first comes Mirage, and Fnatic will have the luxury of the CT side, a team that everybody's been looking forward to in their debut in Flashpoint. They will have the USPs on deck, P2000 though for Flusher. All Glocks for c0ntact, so not really a 50-50 engagement if they go one versus another. They've prioritized Kevlar and utility.
Bit of aggression from Fnatic early as well, taking away this information towards B apps. c0ntact are a team that really like these A executes though, and they're already going for one here in the pistol.
Indeed, they are. Retake territory for Fnatic, who have a smoke on Golden, who gets headshot in CT. If he dies, at least the defuse kit can be collected. 3 players there. We can see there's a shadow advantage for c0ntact, and there's no pop flash for Fnatic to swing here. It is all about the headshots, though. They're lining up double HEs as well. This is quite a novel play that we have here, but they've got to be careful. JW's coming in from the back. It'll be a mixed bag in CT. We still have Crims alive, but it's only Crims and JW versus 4. I love that post-plant HE play. That was very, very interesting. Crims has the kit that his teammate dropped. Smoke's going down on the bomb itself. JW's got to be activated now, but the defuse kit's been lost, and that might be the round because I don't think he'll find it in time. Walks into a triangle of doom, and down he goes.
Good start for c0ntact. They get their way onto the A site, not wasting too much time. Like you said, a little trick up their sleeve as well with a couple of HE grenades. And this is the map that c0ntact have really been leaning into recently. If you haven't seen c0ntact play, they've been really liking this Mirage. You kind of heard on the desk earlier, they were talking about how there's some FPL players on this team. That's part of the reason why. They can loosen it up on this map. They can get involved, get some fights. JW has a revolver, James. JW has a revolver. I don't know if these were the secret strats he was saving for Flashpoint, but I sure as hell hope they're not. I hope they've got something other than this.
You know, if it was practically anybody else, I would have a lot more to say, but it's JW, so I'm going to wait and see. The only person I can remember using a revolver other than JW has been Alu for a brief time, a very long time ago. But JW is the man who will use a sword off in a professional Counter-Strike, among other weapons. He's a very unique player, and I wouldn't want him to play any different way. So let's see what he has to offer with this revolver. 3 players top mid for contact. Spinks holding the bomb at present. He's a man we'll have to keep an eye on. Very limited info. See how much of a team player he can be as a pug star, as he's been described. Very patient from Regon, going forward with the Galil. Good armor damage on that weapon. There's the revolver. It's on the scoreboard immediately. And he's got plenty of targets. Where's the target selection? No. You can see how awkward the pre-fire is there. Well, the warm-up, whatever you want to call it, the wind-up, if you will.
I bet Monty's loving that backstage, though. He's kind of got that cowboy thing going on with his outfits. Nice to see the revolver getting some play. Not successful, though, realistically. Just the 1 kill. Contact to run over that B site. So it's going to be a 2-0 lead for Contact early. Good start for them. Again, getting some money built up as well. Always a nice thing. I think the thing I'm really looking at for this Contact lineup is, firstly, Esperanto. I think he's got a lot of freedom on this roster now. I mean, you look at this roster, there's a couple of newer players in there. I'd expect Otto and Esperanto to be the clear stars. I think they have to be that, and I think Esperanto is getting quite a few of the spots he wants. So I want to see him be a real solid star player against this top-level team. By the way, Revolver being saved by Contact, I doubt we'll see it used, but just a nice note.
It's a comedy weapon.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the kill bonus is, because why would I equip it?
Yeah, true.
Let's go. Let's spin that wheel. Right then, 2-0 for Contact. Crims has a scout, which is spawn-based. You can see on the radar he's the closest to head towards the window. Normally look towards JW, even a flusher with the sniper rifle sometimes. But again, spawn-based it is. Molotov into connector. And a smoke in the window. It's time to rotate. No one's close to deliver the scout to, so he'll be bouncing around for a while. Borland's near connector with the Desert Eagle. A slow start from Contact. 2 players towards A early is commonly a good indicator as to what the intentions are. You can see on the X-ray that Fnatic are being very proactive. Now, if they can avoid this area in connector, we can see that Molotov actually, that Contact have thrown, I believe it was Contact, that's going to slow them down in their approach towards the A bomb site, which helps this flank activate. However, if you look at the radar and see there are 3 players in B, it looks like a misread here from Fnatic.
Ooh, this could get unfortunate for them. Brolan's rotating towards mid. There's a chance he gets some information, but I think he's missed the timing window. They're already in connector. Brolan won't really be aware of that fact. He's just now hearing the steps, so now he knows he's not going to get a kill, though. Just a little bit closer, and those body shots might have done enough. Instead, Esperanto gets the headshot, gets his team the A site, and should get his team the 3rd round. Fnatic really just have to play for kills here, and they're not even going to get any kills. Otto with a couple on the Galil.
If they rotate to ramp, that's potentially a round win. I don't think anybody was looking on the 6. But fortunately for Contact, it didn't happen, so they will start with a big fat 3-0. I'm so curious if Snappy will hold on to this revolver. Because I feel like, how versed are other people with that revolver? You know, you can get the fast shots out at close range with a right click, but muscle memory, not sure if it'll be there.
Ooh.
Flash looking to make a little money towards the end. Do a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. Mac 10 is disposed of, so not the worst loss in the world. Buy round now for Fnatic.
They've got the money for the 2 AWPs, and the setup that Fnatic have been running recently is Flusher as that B-site anchor, and he said recently that he's pretty comfortable with the AWP now. He likes secondary AWPing. He's not gone for it here, though. They've just gone for the rifles, JW with the 1 sniper, and we have seen Fnatic switch up their spots quite a lot recently. It feels like they're really trying to get the most out of their players. Brolan was playing B-site anchor for a bit. Now Brolan's back to A, and we've got some early mid-fights coming through, but flashbangs forced them away.
Looks like a really fast attempt at a split towards the B bomb site, but the flashbangs may be causing some issues there. We can see 3 smokes down in mid, including cover to make their way past the ladder. And here comes a push from upper to try and run distraction as the short players start to move in. Golden with the M4 will get traded by Esperanto as he makes his way in, but he can't find a second flusher now. He's got a smoke up to allow his teammates to rotate through the door a little easier. Dangerous for Snappy to jump up. Didn't expect the elevation from Flusher. Nice adjustment from him. 2 Augs on deck for Fnatic, we must add as well. And it seems slowing Contact down in the middle of the map really helped Fnatic get their first round on the board there.
Yeah, that was nicely done from Fnatic. we always talk about that mid control on Mirage as being very important. I think c0ntact are a team who go for it sometimes, and sometimes they will just go for the straight up executes onto the bomb site. But that time round, the counter nades from Fnatic good enough, and as well a quick rotation from Fnatic, which is something I think they've been trying to work on recently, is trying to make sure they can play together more. Because you think of the old Fnatic and how they always played, it always felt like it was just individual players basically outbraining their opponents. But in the online era, that's harder to do. They've been saying they've been struggling with that style, so they've been trying to see if they can work together more, work in tandem. That worked for them there in the first round. But they've got to keep going into this next one as well. c0ntact still with plenty of money for a buy.
Now, Rigon, he just got killed by a wallbang from Flusher into B apartments, which is epic. However, they at least know c0ntact that JW is on short with the AWP. He heard the scope in after the boost. You could see on the radar he turned around to look at where that sound came from. Bomb collected in T spawn as Spinx is lurking. JW, outrageous as always. Makes it a 5-on-3. Great timing, and you can see the importance of the short play to help control Connector. Rings the bell of Snappy as well, down 7 HP, but it's he who will get the kill instead. Much needed for c0ntact. 50 seconds remaining. With 7 HP, he'll take the AWP because he can't really take a duel. The Molotov again. This time Otto goes through it, and the bomb's been lost. It goes from bad to worse for c0ntact. Maybe still retrievable, and here comes more outrageousness from JW. Signature player for Fnatic, always has been. That's Spinx now, last one to fall. You see the DNA of Fnatic in the way JW plays that round.
Loving that from JW, especially because I think when we head into the T side, JW is going to be key in opening up the rounds for Fnatic. They play defaults quite a lot, and he's going to have to get picks for this team. That was that kill from Flusher on the wallbang. I'm pretty sure Flusher mollied the apartments so that he forced the player back to the right side and then started spamming it, which is a really cool way of doing it.
Yeah, it's a Swedish special. Multiple, I think some old ninjas in pajamas squads used to do that as well. Always nice when it works out. c0ntact will be playing c0ntact on the A-bomb site, it seems, as they look to play the numbers game and burst out. We can see with Crims focusing on mid, that is the time. Definitely try and get the other player in isolation, which is Brawlan only good for one. Crims with the laboured spray. Bomb drops for now. That buys time for the rotation. Don't want to give him that bonus money. Easy clean up for him. Cameo appearance from JW in that round. Some team damage as well, because why not? 3-2-3. 3 rounds in a row from the first buy round. So all the momentum is with Fnatic right now.
Eyes on Otto right now on this buy. He could go glass cannon with the AWP. He's definitely one of those snipers that really prefers to have the AWP in his hand. But I think in the last 6 months or so, he's developed his rifling a fair bit more. And he is going to go for the AK this time, which I think is probably the best assessment on the situation. Probably the best option. Bit of mid-aggression early from Crims and Golden, dropping into underpass. They're going to get this B-sided control, but they're going to give up mid completely. Brawlan's playing in Connector right now, looking for info. This smoke can be awkward to play around, though. Oh, Esperanto snuck past him. Oh, no, Brawlan might be in trouble here. Esperanto, where is he? He's gone back. Okay, this is very awkward for both players, but Brawlan's just going to back away. And they're okay for now. Finally, Brawlan spots him out.
Bearing in mind there's no short support for Fnatic in this round, not that c0ntact know that. They've got to be real careful. Spinx, he went in with the AK, but he was not ready at all. And now what is the response? Moving up the short position are c0ntact, making their way in. Brian's by the window, so they know somebody is in the market position. And the high ground is with Fnatic, which makes it really awkward to plant this bomb. Now what do c0ntact do? They've got a minute on the clock here, but that flashbang is just good enough to allow Otto to go for the peak. Esperanto will have sound cues at the very least as a short plant is made. Golden still with the high ground. Now the question is, how do Fnatic approach this? A 4 versus 4 retake, make it 3 as Flusher comes through the window with great timing. Golden waiting for a peek from the bench, repositioning. Crims trying to run distraction in the meantime. There's a lot going on here. There is a Molotov for JW, if he can find an angle. Finally, the bench peek comes out, but Golden's not ready for it.
Oh, nice shot, JW, but he just got dinked. And the time is pretty far gone at this point. This has to be fast from the Swedes. Otto with one, quickly traded. And Rigon's mollied into the open. Damage done. Time still going down, but Rigon falls. Crims should have time to get this. It's close. Oh, it's closer than I thought, but he's got it. Crims wins the round. Fnatic took so much time to start that retake, but they got into the right positions. They got themselves the kills just about quickly enough. That molly as well, forcing Rigon into the open, is really what won them the round there.
Yeah, that was quite a crazy round the way it played out. Trying to plant the bomb with the CTs on the in the apartments, almost a role reversal. by some degrees, but it's another round in the bag for Fnatic. It got quite expensive for them, but they won't be broken. However, c0ntact will once again. That's a pretty deep molly you saw there, but I might not have time to talk about it, as it looks like we'll have a fast play towards the B bomb site. And Fnatic are very aggressive towards A ramp. You can see that smoke there. I'll explain the whole thing a little later on, because c0ntact are looking to be true to their name in the B bomb site. Flusher with a Molotov below the window, which really limits where people can stand and fight. Golden and Flusher with 2, no response just yet from c0ntact. Let's not forget, this is an eco round. But the damage could pay off in rounds to come, but there's not much to be done. JW will hold steadfast, and there's the final kill. So everybody survives for Fnatic. So it's a very specific lineup as you're running towards triple, which allows the incendiary to go down the stairs. It's a really deep molly. And then afterwards, you can throw a smoke on it, which gives you a one way to look over the top, where people throw grenades from. It's a really nice way to control the ramp.
It wasn't needed in this round, but that's definitely something we could see again as this goes on. Definitely something to keep your eyes on, especially if c0ntact do fall back on those A executes. Because I think a lot of teams, when they're starting to struggle on Mirage, the simplest thing to call is, all right, let's do an A execute. Everyone knows the smokes, even matchmaking players know them, so we should be able to get that going. I am also curious, I think that's DJL there on the player cams instead of Neil M. So there are 2 coaches for this c0ntact team. They have Neil M as the main coach, and then DJL is the assistant coach. And I think Neil M was saying that they were kind of switching it depending on maps at times, seeing who's in the server, and trying to figure out exactly how that was going to work between the 2 coaches. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I haven't heard too many teams really experimenting with that.
Yeah, that's not too shabby, because I think if you can get a different perspective, that can help stop you being stale. More aggression, of course, coming from Fnatic. JW in the underpass with the AWP. He'll hear Udoh up top, unless there's too much action elsewhere.
Look at this setup from Fnatic. They've just left A open.
Exactly, and it's working out well so far. 2 kills, top mid, and how can you even respond to this? c0ntact, Regon creeping through a smoke in the apartments. They were dismantled, and they barely started building in round number 9. Spinks finds himself in a 1 versus 5. And that's you know, things, if you pick the right play at the right time, it can be absolutely devastating. I remember old NIP sometimes would do a B split of the apartments on the CT side, and it wouldn't quite work out for them, because it was always the wrong round. JW getting shabby, and now this is getting quite pricey for Fnatic. Brolan will put Spinks out of his misery. But it's $12,000, but again, it's not something you complain about, because that's just Fnatic. They want to bully you at all times. That's just how they play.
JW had 16k as well at the end of that round, so he's fine.
He was losing money by winning rounds.
Exactly. Good solid spray from Brolan. The AUG is still a gun that's very viable. I think more and more pros seem to be slowly switching to that. I think we're at least seeing it picked up by 1 or 2 players on most teams.
Yeah, Fnatic had 2 of them on their first buy round here.
Yeah, I think it was Valder who actually tweeted from OG that he was thinking the AUG is still pretty underrated, actually, as a gun. Now, this is where c0ntact fall back on this A execute, but this is where the aggression from Brolan might allow the early information to come in. He's probably going to hear these smokes being thrown.
Oh, there's the flashbang down the ramp, and they've missed all the shots. It's awkward for JW now, but he likes to put himself in awkward positions. We'll see what he's able to do. What? Surely he can't survive this. Surely not. Going for the no-scopes. Absolutely blind. Why is he still alive? 7 HP. He's just shooting completely randomly. And finally, he's gone down, but he is delayed. He's allowed the rotation just from that madness, that carnage, that uncertainty. Still, though, 2 versus 3 in favor of c0ntact. Holding angles in CT. Flusher with a smoke to create some space, but Udoh, foot fetish, missed the shot, though. Flusher trying to make a play. That leaves Crims alone now. 1v3. Seems unclear as to where he is. He'll be hiding in plain sight by Toll Booth. The bomb's on the site with some cover, but they can't be certain on where to plant it. If they commit one play to a bomb plant, there might be a hole in the defenses. Going for the fake. Up he goes. There's no response again. Didn't know where he was. Udoh goes for the crouch peek. Not what it used to be, but still comes out on top. And finally, c0ntact have another round.
I honestly don't know if any other player in the world survives as long as JW does there in that position.
The answer is no.
Probably not, yeah. There's the first kill from Snappy, though. That's what really made the difference. If Brolan just keeps you locked into that position, if Brolan keeps them locked into the ramp, JW might be able to stick around with the ult and get to a better spot in the first place. But because Brolan falls without a kill so quickly, that's why JW can't really get back to a good spot with that AWP. You just get stuck in a horrible position, and there's a gap in that smoke, which Otto's going to make the most of. Nice start to the round for c0ntact.
Very nice indeed. I don't know if the smoke was mollied or if it was deliberate. Either way, 5 versus 3 now for c0ntact. And again, the problem with the aggression on those rounds where you got lots of money, but it can quickly disappear, especially when you're rebuying AWP. If Fnatic lose this round, it could be Eco-Town for them. It's going to be awkward either way. 2 versus 5. Bomb making its way towards the A bomb site. Brolin trying to survive on B. See how long he can. Now, c0ntact don't really have all the money in the world to hunt too much themselves. They may want to prioritize their own economy at this juncture. See what JW does. No man's land there, leaving Brolin alone. So c0ntact finally find themselves in a strong position as we head towards the end of the first half. Could really rack up some rounds here.
Definitely a nice round for c0ntact there, getting that first kill at mid. I've got to say, I think flusha just over-aggresses at the B apartments there. I think normally what you want from your B player is someone who's just very reliable, is going to try and stay alive as long as possible for the rotate. And I think flusha and Fnatic had been doing a good job at that in the earlier rounds. They actually were surviving on the B site and allowing the rotate to come in. But flusha just decided to try and push, running through there as well. Clearly just had no clue Rigon was so close. And that miscalculation is a very costly one. c0ntact will get another round on the board. This is where Fnatic are going to fall back on that double AWP setup. I know you guys can't see it, but I can see they've bought that second AWP for flusha. He's going to play that over at the B apps. He's been doing this more and more recently, and I think this will allow him to take that apartment's control much more easily on that long-range angle.
I wondered if we would see the fast boost onto the balcony, but they'll make a more reasonable play towards that B bomb site. So we'll see what the focus is for Fnatic. I feel like they've been setting the pace on the CT side, despite c0ntact's best efforts. But again, it's c0ntact's turn to change that should they win this round. That would be a big pivot for them. Esperanto knows one is close. A free kill onto Crims. He knows there's AWP into jungle as well. Now it's his turn to run distraction, try and draw the attention of the players. You can see Brolin rotating on the X-ray for the engagement. And he will survive for now. Oh, that spray had potential. Udoh now making his way around that jungle position. AWP versus AWP coming up soon. Meanwhile, the A bomb site's being secured elsewhere. flusha's dueling with Spinks on the other side of it. And down goes JW. Now look at the money, or the lack of here for Fnatic. Everything will be lost. And c0ntact have to be targeting 9 rounds here.
Especially with Udoh heating up. 12 kills on the board, 3 in that round. Definitely a big difference maker in that one. I think as well, that's a good round to indicate how c0ntact like to play, where Esperanto kind of makes a solo play to begin with, gets that initial pick, and then c0ntact will just slow it down slightly, make sure everyone's in position to push a bomb site together, and then just go off that man advantage, and it works out for them.
Well then, a quick one in towards the A bomb sites. Nothing fancy here from Fnatic. 2-1-2 setup with pistols, Desert Eagles, and such. c0ntact considering their options, it seems, as we see the bomb and more moving away. Now, they don't really have much information with regards to the apartment, so I do wonder what the play is, because it seems like they've gone from a plan A to a plan B. I'm not sure why, but we'll keep an eye on how this one plays out. We can see flusha is in B apartments, which is going to invite the stack, of course, towards the A bomb site. No one here, let's go there. Now we see there is an escort, protect the VIP and all that. Oh, they're lining up for him. So much potential. And now the question for c0ntact is, what do we do? They've seen the bomb in B apps. Are they going to rotate towards B? Where do we go with the bomb? You don't want to overplay it. Keep it simple. You can see there's some discussion. So again, it's protect the VIP mode. Rigon goes with the 2 players in mid as opposed to going ramp alone with the bomb, where Fnatic are posting up.
Good spray from Spinks. Spots the apartment's aggression. 2 players pushed into the ramp for Fnatic right now. Crims is going all the way through, though, and Brolin has still gone unchecked. Easy kill for Brolin. Almost the chance for more, but Snappy shuts that down. It's all about damage at this point. Crims not connecting with the Deagle, and I think that's going to be the end of it. Udoh holding. Great shot from Crims to take the AWP out of the round, but Esperanto just swings out wide, takes the final kill, and make sure that c0ntact get themselves into the lead. Fnatic fumbling slightly here. They've lost the last 4 in a row. this gun round is going to be pretty important for Fnatic if they want to get a couple of rounds here at the end of the half.
JW will be naked with the AWP. No money for Kevlar. But that's okay. Making his way in towards the window. And the smoke from the T's has been mollied. And that will create a gap. Keeps it tight to avoid the flashbangs. Now, will Otto swing? No one's heading towards the underpass just yet. And we can see Crims is moving up, actually. So he can cover the low ground now for JW. And they can hold this position. In the meantime, c0ntact looking to peek out from Palace, but Brian will deal with that. Now, will he expect Regon? Surely he goes for a secondary peek here. That's happening on the radar. Meanwhile, who's going to make the first play in mid? Will there be a run boost? Brand's been dropped. That might compromise things around mid. We can see Golden's going to be the one rotating from the B bomb site. And in the meantime, Regon's gone through to the bench position. So this becomes very, very awkward. We might win or lose this round in the mid area. Now, they have to know what that means if Crim's in the middle of mid looking backwards. But Regon's made his way into jungle. Now, the bomb has to rotate alone towards the A bomb site because Esperanto's top mid. So this is still super weird because Fnatic had positions towards the A bomb site. They still have Golden in situ as Flusher dies on B, but the bomb is on A ramp. 45 seconds for the rotation to come in. This has been a wild round.
Yeah, action all over the map. A very weird round in that sense. I think for Fnatic, normally when teams run that mid setup, they might go off it by the time we get to the late round for that exact reason, because you are leaving the A site pretty susceptible there. And then at that point, you're in a really tough spot. Once Regon gets into the back lines, he basically wins that round by himself with those 3 kills. Got to give a lot of credit to Regon, though. Just to take that fight in the first place and win it over on the A site, that was so important for him to do, because if he goes down there and they fall into a 3v5, that's probably the round over. Golden's not going to be going for this one. He just heard the man run past, so I think he's realized he can just slip between the cracks, get into CT, and save this ult for JW to try and give them a chance in the last round of the half. But c0ntact, so far, so good. Again, reminder, this is c0ntact's map pick. And I was looking at Fnatic's stats on this map, actually. They only have 2 players with positive HLTV ratings on this map in the last 6 months. They only have 2 players above a 1. I think it was JW and Brolan who are the 2 players who are doing okay on this map. But just in general, it's not been a great map for them. So I don't think this is awful for Fnatic just yet, but it's definitely a good sign for c0ntact, because I wanted to see these players show up, and I think we are seeing that.
Yeah, statistically, this is their best map, 67% win rate, with 15 games played in the last 3 months.
So why has JW got a revolver again?
Because it's JW is the answer. And again, we're going to have a big presence in mid from both sides. HE's not too shabby, but what's the follow-up? That's the real question. Snappy's made his way towards the ladder position. They're offering the split again, as they did before, and you can see the rotation, a 3rd man towards the B bomb site for Fnatic. However, we've got 4 for c0ntact on A ramp, or maybe one's going to Palace. Question is, can they do anything fast enough? Now, they've been smoked off on ramp, so they offered the fake, they pulled the rotation, but they didn't pull the trigger on the A bomb site, and now they find themselves stuck.
Prolam was moving all around that A site there, trying to find a comfortable spot for himself. Now he's going back to under Palace, but this is something that's been spotted. Esperanto gets that first kill, and that could really open up this round. Crims is the player who has to try and arrive on the rotation, and he's moved into the stairs, but he just heard Esperanto drop down close range, and I think Crims realizes they might be better off playing it safe and waiting for this rotation, which is now arriving. But Snappy's in such a good spot. The spray is terrible, though. He does barely any damage, but his teammates might be able to save it. Maybe not, though. Crims has got 2 kills. JW with such a tough fight, but he gets the no-scope. And Fnatic have turned this round on its head.
It's descended into madness. Absolute madness. Otto, though, still got 30 seconds to do this. 1v3 made 2. He's got a 1v1 now. But that smoke will cause some problems. It will buy more delay. Snipers moving around, but it's Crims to get the last kill of the first half. So maybe should have been a 9-6, a back and forth affair in the late stage of the first half. And it's c0ntact with a thin lead as they move into the CT side, which comes up after the break.
mess with me.
Welcome back. It is time for the second half. c0ntact lead by 1 round. They move to the CT side after a bit of catch-up in the first half. They managed to break the money of Fnatic, and that really gave them a fighting chance moving into the second half. But the question is, have we seen the best of c0ntact in the first half?
That is a good question, because Neil M, their coach, was saying Fnatic made a mistake by picking c0ntact into this group. He was saying he thinks he has a good matchup against them. I want to see if that is going to come true, and this is going to be a close game. Because a close first half on Mirage, that's okay for c0ntact, but this is a map they really, I think, have to win to win this series.
Absolutely, and I really do think that, I think it's a good way to spur on the team if they do win this and they start CT side and train us like, this is ours to win, boys. We can win it in this half, essentially. Sports psychology at the very least. So we're just waiting for the second half to begin. We had some really fun rounds there. Very back and forth affair, but I think it was quite entertaining. Saw some nice fakes from c0ntact on the T side. I do wonder though if they're going to be able to hold on in this second half. I think for me, it's all eyes on Udoh. He needs to really kind of puncture the tires of Fnatic as they try to roll through these rounds. I think he's going to be key in doing that. We saw on the Fnatic side, they did well thwarting the early smoke grenades into the window of Molotovs and so on. And when they had money, they did pretty well. When they didn't have money though, obviously things become a lot harder, and then c0ntact were able to steamroll for a short time. Probably should be 9-6, but I mean, it's 1 round, so could be worse.
Not too bad for them. I think as well on the Fnatic side, I was saying earlier, I expect JW to be the key for them on this T side. In the games I've seen from them recently, they've been relying on him on Mirage a lot to try and get opening kills, and then once he gets the kill, they try and make the most of that. I am wondering if they're going to keep on playing like that though, because if they have actually been saving strats for this tournament, maybe they've just been defaulting in their previous games and they're going to come out with some more executes. Maybe they're going to come out with some more strat-heavy stuff. I think Fnatic have done kind of a smart thing there in their interviews by almost saying, well, we might play differently heading into this tournament. It gives the other teams something else to think about, at least.
Absolutely. Mind games are always good. I feel like, generally speaking, the way Fnatic kind of stamped their authority on the series at the very beginning on that CT side was promising for the games to come, and I can't wait to see what they have to offer once we do get to train. But again, it is Mirage, where we will soon resume. So again, this is Fnatic's debut in Flashpoint. A lot of money on the line, $1 million prize pool. That is a hell of a lot of money. And again, it is like headlining in the year, basically Flashpoint 1 and 2, giving away a bucket load of cash. So I want to see how far they can go.
Yeah, for sure. And for c0ntact, like, this is obviously a lot of pressure, especially for some of these new guys. Rigon and Spinks, these are players who barely have played on teams before, right? They're the kind of players who have been playing games on teams, but it's the sort of team where they're switching players maybe every week, right? It's that sort of team where it's not got that structure to it. Something that Snappy's been saying is that he likes that he's had this clear vision for the game, now with young and hungry players who are willing to listen, who are willing to actually try and take on advice and take on some of these roles. He's kind of been saying that that's really reinvigorated this team, and this is the right time for it, right? If you're going to reinvigorate the team ahead of Flashpoint, that's what you got to do, because this is the biggest tournament of the year for these guys. Let's be real.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I think, with new players who don't have that much pro experience is obviously there's the negative side of being a pugger, where you might get outthought, but in certain ways it can be disruptive as well. If generally you expect a player, if you can roughly identify what his situation is, you may expect him to do one of 3 things. But if he doesn't have that experience and that kind of mindset just yet, he might do something that catches you off guard. And if he does that at a key time, then who knows what might happen.
Definitely a good point. I also think something I'm absolutely watching out for in this second half, is that Spinks and Rigon, the two newest players to this team, seem to be playing bomb sites together a lot on their CT sides. I believe, I can't remember if they play B or A, but they definitely both play the same bomb site on Mirage. I remember looking at that and wondering, man, when the pressure's on against a team like Fnatic, your two most inexperienced players on the same site, that's something that could be pretty scary. Yeah,
I think Fnatic playing full Fnatic mode in terms of their play style, the things you saw from JW and so on, might be a little flustering for new players, because when they might have played against some of these players in FPL and such, but when it's the entire team, when it's the unit, that's a different kettle of fish entirely, and that could make things quite spicy. Spicy kettles of fish.
Definitely.
At the Bardolph house.
Nice.
You're all invited. I'm not going to be trying it though. So again, we're just waiting for the game to start. Short delay here. So we're waiting for this guy to sit back at his computer.
Come on, mate. What's he up to?
I guess his phone's on charge.
Yeah.
What kind of wall plug is that? Welcome back.
Hello.
Nice for you to join us. Well, again, we will be starting very, very soon. So I'm curious to see what Fnatic will be bringing into this pistol round on the T side. Well, I can see most of it already. And it is mostly Kevlar with the odd grenade. Broline has not bought just yet, though.
What's Crim's got on the door behind him? Has he got like a cover on his door?
He's got a plastic sheet, so when he murders people, there's no blood on the walls.
Right, okay.
I guess maybe he was painting something. Or is painting something.
That's probably more reasonable. Or he just really, really likes that door, like a lot, and he wants to keep it in pristine condition. You know, like with Pokemon cards, you keep them in a sleeve. Maybe he's bought one for his door.
I should get sleeves for my doors. I walk into doors, I just break things a lot.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I'm heavy-handed.
Yeah,
I broke part of the hotel room already.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Where the towels are kept in the shower thing. I just like the bit in the middle. I pulled it off entirely.
You pulled it off?
Yeah. So it's just a rail on the outside.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just me.
All right. Well, I'm firmly going to stay on this side of the glass, away from you, James. I don't want you breaking any part of me. But we're back into the game, so we can finally get underway for this T-side pistol from Fnatic. We've got that P250 for JW, or for Flusher rather. JW's the man lining up this smoke right now.
Love me a P250. It shows promise. Now, Flusher waiting to emerge from the palace. There was a flashbang for him, delivered by JW, who now rotates the bomb away. And you could see c0ntact getting active. Flusher fishing towards the A bomb site has got them wondering. They've got defensive positions on B, but Flusher's play will be good for only one. Smoke is up, and that allows the split. They've got the high ground as well. Don't line up, though, for Snappy. Headshots delivered by both sides, but you see the shortcomings of the Glock and the pistol run because Snappy's still alive. He's trying to stay alive and buy time for that rotation. Doesn't want to fight to the death just yet. The cavalry are here, but it won't be successful. Rigon alone now, 1v2. Position unknown, starting to strafe quietly. Sees the back of JW, can't get this gun out in time. 1v1, now there's Golden, and there's the pistol round for Fnatic.
So fast from Golden there. I don't think he stopped running. He just instantly gets the drive-by headshot to close out the pistol round. Fnatic there, able to get onto the B site, and this is where I think the experience for Fnatic shines through. They don't ever panic that they're not killing Snappy. They realize they don't have to kill him straight away. They can make sure they're waiting for those rotating players to arrive, and that final shot from Golden, so clean, clinical on the final kill. Fnatic with the pistol round have a chance to get themselves into the lead as long as they can overcome this force buy of c0ntact. Pistols out. A bunch of skilled players on this c0ntact team, but Spinks isn't ready for the early fight. JW takes him out. Otto with a nice shot in reply, though.
Oh my god. Flusher out of contention. This is a brutal one. Golden's barely alive, which is one to watch out for, especially because Snappy has a Desert Eagle. They don't know where he is just yet. He has an opportunity. He has a chance. Golden left alone on the site, as there is a big spread from Fnatic, trying to eliminate channels early, it seems. No kit for Snappy. Now he's got full armor and a deagle, so he's carrying a fair bit, like $2,000 basically. It seems maybe he'll look to hold on to this. Force buy has failed for c0ntact. So Fnatic are off on the right foot. Both teams have won their T-pistol rounds, it's worth noting, and the consecutive round. So that's healthy. JW, just going for JW things.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a clip on my YouTube on the corner of Dust 2 from the CT perspective facing long doors, where he dropped a HE grenade and then peeked in the dirt and took a shot and shot like Chris J or somebody in the head. And he's done that on Mirage ramp before and sprayed CT through the dirt and got a headshot. So there's always weird, funky things which JW will do. Although Devilwalk tells me that some of those were his idea. He wants it to be known.
Got to give him props. JW definitely someone who likes to get down and dirty. And, oh, Crim's taking a dink at mid. There are still Deegs in play for c0ntact in this round. The only man with Kevlar, though, is Snappy, who saved that over from the last. Fnatic just going for the early mid control, sitting back, playing the patience game. Golden hasn't even bought a primary weapon in this round as well. Not even a Mac 10 to try and make money. He's just going straight for the Deeg, the cheaper option. Brolan already moving into the connector, starting to get some space for his team. Brolan's definitely someone who likes to play aggressive, definitely likes to be in the front lines.
What's interesting about Golden's approach is he may be the first in, knowing this is an eco round. He was just spotting in CT for the time being, a utility man, and again, the first in, he can swing, allows teammates to trade for him. You can see him just jumping there. So, I like that. I like it's by design, and it's pretty good. This is a sneaky angle. I think Caravan's fond of this one. Esperanto, though, be a bit less fond after that headshot from Golden. So the site's been taken with ease, and JW will secure the high ground, which is a potential exit route for Fnatic. So everything looks good for now. And Golden, this is risk assessment. He's expendable. We'll have a look, see what's going on. And then there was only Regon and Snappy.
There is an AK dropped here, so Golden doesn't have to push, but he's going to do it anyway. Rigon finally dropping him, and the AK has now been recovered by Rigon, who will look to save it. And it looks like he will be allowed to save it. That'll be a nice little bonus. Ooh, JW's actually jumping into window, so maybe there's a chance, but the murder hole is called the murder hole for a reason. You're dead. Rigon gets him, and he will get to save the AK.
I think when you see JW doing stuff like that, it's a great example of allowing an explosive player to play the way he wants to play and allowing him to have the confidence where sometimes he's going to lose rifles and so on, but sometimes he's going to win you championships as well. So you have to give him the space to have that wider margin of error with things like this and then have the higher peak as well. Everybody's got to buy. 2 AWPs on deck, 1 for each side. Golden's going to be up top, getting a Molotov to deny angles. We can see 4-man on the road towards the A-bomb site for Fnatic. And it could quickly be 4 contact players here with 1 in connector and 1 around a jungle position. It could be a big war of attrition on the A-bomb sites.
Otto's playing CT with the AWP as well, so if they go contact, that sniper's got a decent chance for the CTs to try and hold it down. Spink's able to get a kill. He's got a little bit of cover and he's able to get into the underpass. This is a good position to be in. Big rotate as well from the CTs, but now they're second-guessing themselves. They're rotating a couple of players back, and oh wow, God. Flusher through the floor, and Crim's through the box.
Well, that's Fnatic. Rigon now wondering what he can do. Teammates are dying around him. Must be feeling like a first-person perspective war film for him. Just bodies strewing around the map, and then he joins them, leaving Snappy towards the B bomb site. I'm amazed, actually, that Fnatic got so much success from that, because when Brolan came out, I think he was, well, it was a well-timed flashbang, which is why he was dead, but I think in many cases, he gets that kill with the Molotov in a default position. And that made things awkward for Fnatic, but then when you've got experienced players like Flusher and Crims coming through, then maybe it doesn't matter if they can't see you, they're going to kill you anyway. Those were really important sprays. That's quite. I don't know what else to say, but say it's a very Fnatic way to get multiple opening kills and win a round.
Absolutely. That's one of the more Fnatic rounds you'll see. I was really worried that Otto was just going to have a field day there. I was worried he was just going to have a shooting gallery with that AWP, but he committed to triple, which puts him in a much more difficult position once Fnatic start to close the distance. So there's the first kill from Flusher, and this one from Crims. I think he might have just spotted that gun barrel from Otto. I think committing to triple there is a really big risk from Otto. It might be better off for him to play retake in that scenario. And unfortunately for c0ntact, this is where the rounds can really start to go against you. You've got a couple of M4s still, a couple of Deegs in there as well, though. And Fnatic going straight back towards mid, although most of their players are actually towards the B apartments right now.
Note the chain flashes though. The very obvious flash from Broland, just bouncing it off the middle of mid. Look away from that one, no problem. But a chain flash behind him as he swings. So if somebody was there and they turned away from his flash, they eat the second one. Chain flash is very, very important. Fnatic just trying to identify what the climate of this round is. Still a dangerous round for them. Even with only deagles, it is dangerous. But there are 2 rifles here as well. JW creeping. Now, they'll have the sound cue to figure out where Snappy is. I'm not sure if he just sort of barreled the gun there. Moving around. If he went to the barrel, you can have a quick... Oh, he saw a face, surely. He's been spotted as well. 3 players could swarm onto the site. Golden starting to rotate, but Broland's the first to go down. By a deagle, of course. Snappy still alive now. Doesn't have much to try and buy time for his teammates to rotate, but he'll swing on Otto's death. And there's a 1-for-1. He's got to do more, though. He's got to find more. JW going for the wallbangs. Awkward for both squads now. 3-on-3 on the B bomb site. 40 seconds. There's time for Fnatic to fight, but they've got to get some frags here. Golden with 2. That leaves Rigon alone now, and JW will clean him up. Looking a little hairy there, but they managed to find the wax.
Good couple of impact kills from Golden as well. He's someone who's always talked about on this Fnatic team, I think, as someone who is pretty effective at getting those really important kills, those impact frags at the right time. And Fnatic are still playing, I think, a somewhat similar game plan in that they're not really relying on too many nades, right? They're not relying on massive executes, which is allowing c0ntact to rotate. But Fnatic are just so cool in those positions. Even though it's a full rotate over to the site, they know they've got plenty of players in good positions, and they know that they can just wait for that rotation. And a lot of teams would struggle to play like that, but Fnatic finding success with it. Esperanto.
Mouse 1, please.
Yeah.
No clickerino. Big fight in mid. Look at the difference in the aggression that we saw from Fnatic and their control on the CT side of Mirage versus what c0ntact have been able to do thus far. I really do feel like Fnatic have been controlling the map on both sides. JW will get the opening kill. Oh, Spinks. I don't know if it was the spray pattern or what, but he had to get that kill. They're in trouble once again, but now maybe it's time for Otto to activate. That flashbang saved some bacon on the A bomb site, but they're losing players, Fnatic. That's an important kill from Flusher, smoking off jungle, trying to entertain, because look at the bomb on the radar, rotating away from the A bomb site. They know where Flusher is. Very dangerous position. And again, they've got him sandwiched. But he can sit here all day.
He might as well. He might just sit here while that bomb goes all the way over to B. This is still not ideal for Fnatic. They'd love to be able to group up here, but at the same time, getting a free B bomb site is never a bad thing. 28 seconds now, and Golden is still slowly clearing out B. Flusher not making a move from Connector, so it looks like that bomb will be planted on B, and then Flusher will try and draw out those rotations and get a kill in the back. And normally that's something Flusher is so effective at.
Oh god, he's really been entertaining them. Got the biscuits out and everything, the fine china, the tea bags. And maybe they wondered where he's gone to. The jumping kill, he knew something was around the corner. They held him from both sides the entire time, but when he started peeking, it was almost as if they were wondering where he went. There used to be bugs where you could just go into the walls and things, and maybe they thought Flusher and found one, but no. Another brutal round. c0ntact have yet to win a round in this half.
That is not great. Not great indeed. Just Flusher jumping on the last one as well. Unreal, man. And Crims is going for the SG553. Not a weapon we see much of nowadays. The Krieg, as you may have heard it called back in the olden days. This is something Crims has been experimenting with a little bit. He's been trying out this SG. I'm not sure I'm a massive fan of it. I think the SG is kind of bad now. It shoots so slow that I just don't think it can be that good, but he's going to try it.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the application, but I feel like it is somewhat short-term in that later on in the round it becomes a problem. Even if you're trying to go for the spray pattern, it does shoot extremely slow. It's a potato gun these days, but it does fire pretty big potatoes. Hit one in the face, and you won't need another one. Plenty of carbs. Maybe it was a fat finger moment with the Krieg.
I've seen him bite a couple of times in their game against Mad Lions as well, so I think he's just giving it a try.
Okay, Brolan will get his bell rung, but he's okay for the moment. Got a pretty good angle to just hold this position. The bomb site is somewhat secure. I say somewhat because we have an imposter among us. Rigon in the palace. I don't see anything too dangerous happening from this position, but you never know. Plenty of time to plant the bomb. But those smokes are going soon, and then, oh no, now things will get awkward. A smoke to create some space to attract attention. And Otto will get activated as well. 3 versus 3, and indeed, it does become super weird now. Crims tries to get the bomb planted while the smoke is up. This becomes really awkward, especially with that Krieg.
Getting the plant down there, though, is so good for JW. It's not good for Brolan, though. They both go down, but JW has a great angle for this bomb. That's why Crims prioritizes the plant. He knows that JW can still win this, and he's got the first kill. Peek before the smoke is ill-advised. JW doesn't know if they're on it or not, though. And Snappy, great timing on the peek. Here's the AWP shot, gets the headshot, and finally, c0ntact get their first CT round.
In a very irreplicable manner. Irreplicable? That's always the asterisk. There's lots of money for Fnatic, and the question is, like, c0ntact, this is not any evidence of something c0ntact can repeat to win more rounds, which is very worrying. But at least they're on the board, and maybe that just breaks the momentum. Maybe this is the start of something, but it looks like it's going to be hard. An awkward round to lose for Fnatic. Seems like high ground was pretty good for c0ntact after all around the Palace position.
We've got a CTSG now as well.
Oh, my
Snappy's
days.
got that. Oh, God, they've got mollies landing on them as well, but they're all right. JW's alive on, what, 4 health? Brolan's just taken a nade as well. This is great early utility from c0ntact. Not something they've had so far in this game, and they're just going to swing on mid.
Plenty of targets, but it's Fnatic who are falling. And a Krieg on the CT side is always good on a B bomb site in multiple maps, and Snappy with a classic position on the wooden boxes, and with a Krieg, this should shred, should slow down the advance as well. I don't know if Otto's giving some sound cues away there, actually going for a peek. Tag, but no frag, no bomb spotted, as it is towards top mid at present. A third man towards B as well for c0ntact. A little nervous, maybe expecting Fnatic to all be together, but it being Fnatic, they're still completely apart. Holding angles for the moment. The bomb spotted now in mid. JW was waiting quite long for that peek. Now he could head in either direction. There's been presence shown at B, presence shown at A. Maybe expecting that rotation. Again, old Krieg probably gets a kill there, but the slow fire rate will allow c0ntact to escape. But now they've seen a guy in Palace and a guy in B apps and a bomb top mid. Where do they concentrate their resources?
Oh, a Fnatic running out of time, though. That's the question on my mind. They've got to make up their minds here with 30 seconds remaining. The bomb's going to come back to B. Look at how low health both these B players are, though, and Esperanto's in behind them.
JW's walking. That is actually amazing.
Oh, no!
They got knives out! Oh, my days. Well, surely there isn't time to make it into the B bomb site. Surely not. Flusher holding angles, but maybe this round is a lost one. AWB will be collected. And all of a sudden, the money's looking a bit short for the T side. Now, they can recover quicker than the CTs generally can, but you now start to wonder if there might be a second wind here from c0ntact.
Definitely curious as to whether Fnatic just continue with this same play style. With Flusher on quite heavy lurks right now, and with them kind of just calling on the fly, it feels like, right? It feels like Fnatic are just scrimming early, trying to get some trades, and then in the late round, trying to outmaneuver their opponents. But in the last couple of rounds, I feel like that's cost them a little bit. This is where I wouldn't mind Fnatic falling back on more of an execute, but normally Fnatic are a team who don't like to do that. They'd rather just rely on their individuals to open up the rounds for them and to go from there. And we're going to just see them spread out into a default in this very round. Everyone is sitting back and waiting patiently.
Rigon potentially has an angle to bounce a molly on the ramp while his teammate holds the gun, but they'll drop the smoke in instead. And there's Golden dropped by the B bomb site, but again, the bomb hasn't been spotted just yet, so plenty of questions. Brolan, how does he survive that? Elbow was spotted, had his knife out, now he chases, but again, the bomb still hasn't been seen. Currently sitting on the floor towards top mid. A forward smoke grenade on ramp. In the meantime, Crims is getting dropped. What has happened to the run from Fnatic? Their momentum has been stopped, their money's dried up, and they're in a 3 versus 5. Fishing on various places. Finally an opening from Brolan, and all of a sudden things turn around. A flurry of kills on the A bomb site, and now c0ntact are out of position.
Another round where Fnatic just rely on the fights. That's what they're relying on right now, which is scary against a team like c0ntact, who definitely are happy to brawl you, but this time round, it looks to be working successfully. Snappy might not be ready for this angle if he goes out wide. Flusher buying his time. Oh, the flash actually blinded Snappy, which made him not peek, and he would have been done for if he did peek. He is going to be done for now, though. Brolan with a 3K and a spray from above. I think Brolan's been a little bit quiet this game, in all honesty. Normally, we expect him to be right near the top, but that's a nice triple kill to get, and it's a nice way for Fnatic to get their 14th.
They're really forcing their way back into some of these rounds. Just with individual skill. I think it was Fnatic who in an interview, someone on the desk referenced them having said in this online era, we just want to improve individually.
Yeah.
And they're definitely delivering on that promise in rounds such as that, which they didn't have any right to win. And look what they've done to c0ntact. They've devastated their economy when they were just starting to come back. And now we see some very late aggression from c0ntact. This was like standard for Fnatic on their CT side. It's been a unicorn for c0ntact. But will they be able to do anything with it?
This is a round where Fnatic are grouping up a little bit more. All of them on this A side of the map, except for Golden, who's waiting around mid. Otto spots the players out early. Not massive damage, though. Just going for the pre-fire. This is where Golden can cut off the rotates, or his head can get cut off by Snappy. Good shot with the M4, but Brolan's already fighting back. Now, where are the nades from Fnatic? They need that CT smoke, or they just need JW to kill them.
Creeping around the side, c0ntact looking to die on this hill. Snappy and Spinks remain. JW still entertaining. He's got support though. That smoke will soon be gone in Palace as well, which leaves Snappy with less places to hide. And there's Crims to get the final frag of that round and put Fnatic on game point. And it's not looking good for c0ntact in the money department, that's for sure.
It's nice to see JW back top fragging as well. There was a period of time where JW was really starting to go quite heavily away from that AWP. I think it was a few months ago, he actually had more AK kills than AWP kills quite often. And he's still sometimes switching away from the AWP to the AK. But in this game, he's been back on the AWP, he's been doing great things with it, and they've got 5 map points on the Fnatic side of things to steal their opponent's pick.
One CT spotted in the underpass, which maybe compromises both of them, although it could turn out for a bait. We'll have to wait and see. Also, very aggressive, but Fnatic have presence top mid. Golden hiding behind the TV. Stereo frags for Fnatic across the map, and this may be a fast round, a fast final round for c0ntact and Fnatic. Or maybe not. Esperanto picks up a rifle as the bomb makes its way towards the B bomb site. He will have the high ground for now. Rigon considering taking a gamble push. Door and window both smoked in market at the moment. There's the bomb planted. Esperanto has a defuse kit. Spinks coming in from the back very late, and he won't get there in time to help either of his teammates now. He is alone in a cold world of brutality, led by Fnatic, wielding their spears into the chest of c0ntact. They take Mirage with savage, ruthless aggression.
16-10 in the end. The first half was very close. The second half, not so much. Fnatic really took over there towards the end. They really got it going. That loose playstyle paying off for them. They outplay c0ntact on the first map, and we've got Train coming up next. That's going to be an exciting one. Make sure to stick around here at Flashpoint 2.
We're back with Flashpoint 2, Fnatic with the win, and although we haven't yet definitively made contact with an extraterrestrial being, there may be signs of life, gentlemen. At least in that first half, Contact taking it 8-7, their CT side not really holding up against Fnatic. What were your initial impressions here of our first game of the day?
So at the start of that first half, I think Fnatic really started off really solid. The team play looked great. The communication between the bomb sites really, really good. But moving on further into the half, they had one round where I think they misread the economy. They played a close ramp setup. That's where you have the AWPer, the top of ramp, being able to play on the left side. And you wouldn't be running that into an eco on the other team. They lost that round. From that, they lost a bit of kind of momentum. And I think at that point, Contact switched into playing a little bit more contact heavy, pardon the pun, getting a bit faster. And they pulled off some nice flanks actually on Fnatic and caught them a bit off guard in that first half towards the end.
Yeah, there was a surprising amount of misdirection on Contact side. That being said, some of it was kind of based off of individual players. Rigon, for example, really stretching up that connector, finding the flank onto JW, if I'm not mistaken, and just able to flank the B player as well, Flusha. So Rigon, a new FPL talent, catching off players like JW and Flusha. I don't feel like that's replicable success. That being said, I did like what we saw from Contact. There was a good game plan on the T side there, but it really fell apart once Fnatic got onto that T side.
And Alan, you wanted to take a look at the first pistol round of the second half. It was where Fnatic was able to even things up 8-8. What did you see?
So going into this pistol round, I really actually think they needed it. If Contact taking both pistols, I really think they could have had the map. But going into this round, and particularly the later parts of this round, Contact had, I think it was a 4 versus 2 going into the late round. And Fnatic, they're so good when it goes later, just slowing it down. We were actually listening to the comms. They're so calm the whole time, calming what they can see, who's holding what. Team play off each player was insane. And the final shot we'll see in a second from Golden was just absolutely fundamental towards them taking this game.
Ooh. That's a nice one.
That's a parting gift from Golden there on that pistol. And that's just what we love to see from Fnatic. The fact that we were able to tune into the comms, we can't understand them, of course, because they're in Swedish, but the fact that they're just so calm, and it feels like it's another day in the office for Fnatic, despite the fact that Mirage has been a problem map for them recently.
Yeah, we were talking about Yumi, our stats guy. They have been 2-7 Fnatic on that map over the last 3 months. But you said you had some thoughts on that, Maui, about why their results might have turned out that way.
Yeah, we've seen them actually switch up some of their positions, and actually in interviews that Freya has conducted, she's actually extracted the information from some of the Fnatic players that they've been testing out different role swaps, different kind of players in different positions, and that's kind of resembling what we saw from Virtus Pro when they were on their last legs, and hopefully for Fnatic's sake, they are not on their last legs. They looked pretty good here, and they've had some decent form lately, so you hope they're not just trying things because nothing's working for them, but I'm glad to see Brolin back on that A side, I must say.
And you wanted to pull up round 24 to take a look at this and Fnatic's comeback from the half here. Why'd you pick this one?
Yeah, this was just another round where Fnatic were able to break every situation down, despite losing some of the opening engagements there, despite the deficit in manpower here. They actually were able to bring this one back. So we can see Golden getting picked early on, along with Crims, but somehow Brawlin and Flush, they're just able to play off of each other so well. And in these kinds of moments, their comms are just so on point. They're able, in a confusing and sometimes just all over the place A bomb site, they're able to come together, watch each other's angles just perfectly, and they know exactly what they need to do in every single step of that situation, whereas Contact is just throwing their bodies at the problem, hoping that'll solve it.
Certainly for Fnatic, when it gets down to those kind of late rounds, 3-on-3s, 4-on-4s, they really might be the best team in the world at playing those late round scenarios. They're so good, as Maui went for reference, at playing off each other. The comms are insane. They know exactly this player takes contact, I'm going to move in and pinch them from the other side. So for Fnatic, they're so good at these late round scenarios, and compared to a team like Contact who perhaps struggles in those scenarios, I think in that game we really saw kind of the differing ability in those late round scenarios.
So where are we landing at with Contact right now? Because they came in with the newest iteration of the roster without much experience, and they pick Mirage as presumably some sort of punish pick against Fnatic over the last few months in a map that they feel strong on. They're competitive, but they don't take it, and now we're going to go into Fnatic's map pick. Does Contact look like they could be potentially a legitimate threat? Maybe not in this match because they're going into Fnatic's match pick, but in this group, let's say.
I'll say this, that k0ntact clearly came into that T side with a game plan that was, in a way, effective. So I do have to give props to DJL, Neil M, and Snappy. But once it got onto the CT side, you could see the communication breakdowns on that team. So that's where we need a little bit more experience from some of these individuals and for them to step up in terms of just being the glue guys in those situations.
Well, we do have Freya on the clock with k0ntakt's coach Neil M to talk about that Mirage map.
We do indeed. Neil, we have got 60 seconds to be breaking this one down. First of all, that first half of Mirage looked very, very close. So what were the issues going into that second half on your CT side?
I think the pistol, to be honest with you, was unlosable. It was 4v2 and a guy on 20 HP, and we kind of over-rotated really quickly over the whole CT half, to be honest with you. It looked like a bit of nerds. People were peeking one by one. Like, we just got a really bad start on CT, and I honestly think inexperience came into it, into that second half. I think that's the reason why we lost that map, to be honest with you.
Well, of course, we're going to be going into Train. This is going to be Fnatic's map pick. And I know, Neil, you were saying you felt very confident going up against Fnatic that it was going to be a close game. What are you going to be focusing on coming into this one?
I think we have a good game plan for Train. To be fair to them, they actually changed quite a few up in the first half, of the second half, I mean. But Train, it's actually our top 3 maps, so I think we've got a really good chance starting CT. We just need to get momentum going, and hopefully we can get it from there.
Well, thank you so much, Neil, for taking the time to chat with us. In between our maps, of course, we're going to be jumping it straight up to Train, but not before we head back to the desk.
All right, so we get to see Train for the first time in Flashpoint 2, which pleases me. It's one of my favorite maps. I like seeing a lot of the longer sight lines, op setups, technical play. Is this where k0ntakt's going to fall apart compared to the disciplined play that we see from Fnatic?
I think so, yeah. From watching...
I did lead that question really hard.
But I would have gone that way anyway, to be honest. I have watched k0ntakt playing Train, and I think being a map where you do need a lot of set plays on T side, you need a lot of depth to your tactical game. I think they really lack it. I think they play a really kind of basic T side. And the thing that surprises me is that in the modern day, it's so easy just to look at the other top teams and just nick, 5 different set rounds onto outer, some re-execs and pops into the B site. But from what I've seen of them so far, they weren't running any of those. They're playing the slow defaults every round, just going for Ivy, also looking for the picks. And I think if they come into a game against Fnatic, who are so good at playing those CT side, the rotates, I mean, JW is going to be all over the place. They're so good at playing towards the outer area. I think if they play so slow and default is going to be really poor for them. But what we did see on Mirage is that when it did get to the late stage of that half, they did up the pace a bit and it looks a lot better. So hopefully in this game on Train, they can show a similar sort of T side that we saw at the end of the Mirage T side.
Yeah, I'm going to need Spinks to step up a little bit here because he is that anchor for the B inner bomb site. And you know that if he has a performance like last game where he only had 8 kills, that's not going to hold up against a team like Fnatic. They're just going to tear him apart, whether it's in their own defaults on the Fnatic side or the execs that Fnatic has prepared. And they've been willing to show a few more set plays as the year has progressed.
Grim tidings for k0ntakt fans, to be sure.